Well, we have more coming your way. And speaking of technology, when it comes to identity theft, there are so many ways that you can protect yourself from those scams. So let's check it out.
Criminals continue to obtain and use consumers' personal information to steal our identity and acquire retail or bank accounts, often leaving innocent victims in very serious financial trouble. Kalyani Pillay, CEO of SABRIC, the South African Banking Risk Information Center, is back with us in studio to give us a few tips on how to protect our personal information. Kalyani, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'd love to say it's always great to see you, but it always is terrifying added to that. Sure. And I think around this time of the year, the festive season, maybe there is a higher risk because we are often distracted, maybe not as vigilant as we always are.
Sure.
Maybe you can just educate us and reiterate some of those tactics that the skillum uses to get our personal information.
Well, I think, the very common ones that have been doing the rounds for so long, and unfortunately it's just not going away, even though we're trying to get people to be aware of it, is issues around phishing emails, vishing, the phone calls where people are calling you. And one of the things I think that's also very important that we thought we'd alert our bank customers to is the fact that the criminals use spoofed numbers and spoofed mail addresses as well. So what that actually means is that it purports to come from a particular number.
It looks valid,
yes.
Yeah.
And so if you have a particular number on your phone or from a particular place, they would make it look like it's coming from that. So it's a fake number, it appears like that to you, but in fact it's not. And I think the way to actually deal with it, because you may never know, is to just remember the simple rules about never, ever giving people information that they should not be having. If there's no legitimate reason to give somebody your personal information, and more particularly your confidential information relating to usernames, bank account details, PIN, password, that kind of thing. There may be occasion where you need to give people your name, your address, your ID number. To do commercial transactions, you obviously need to, but you need to know who you're dealing with. If you're not certain, then put the phone down or check before you actually send out. But the very important thing is never ever to email or SMS your card details. If you're making a booking, especially at this time of the year, people are booking hotels and that kind of thing. If you get a request saying, please, in order to secure your booking, go ahead and email me your card number, your expiry date, don't do it.
Won't happen like that.
Communicate that information online.
Just stay away from it.
Yes.
All this being said, what will this information, as innocuous as it sometimes seems, be used to do? What kind of crimes will be committed with our personal information?
So if a perpetrator gets access to all the right personal information, they'd even surf the net, get harvest from social media sites, build up a profile of you. They can then acquire facilities on your name. They could open accounts, retail accounts. They could do what is called account takeover. They can take over your account, but they need to, of course, have all of the right information. And you would end up with this debt which you don't even know about. So that's why we say to bank customers, do a check with the credit bureaus, even if you register with them to receive alerts or updates when anybody's making an inquiry on you. If you lose your personal documents like your identity document, your driver's license, contact the South African Fraud Prevention Services and register with them that these documents have been stolen, over and above, of course, going to the police and reporting it, so that if anybody is now wanting to use your profile and they want to acquire facilities, usually the company that's going to be providing it will run a check against the South African Fraud Prevention Services and credit bureaus, and they'll be able to pick up that this particular ID number has already been reported stolen. So it's just part of the prevention, it's part of minimizing and mitigating some of the risks that people are faced with when their information's stolen.
Bottom line, just you have to be that first line of defense, I think. Kalyani, thank you so much for that. I think always ensure ultimately that you report your lost or stolen driver's license or your ID to the South African Fraud Prevention Service yourself. And for more tips, some incredibly useful information on bank safety, visit the SABRIC website and, of course, their social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter.
Wise up, watch out.